All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. And we are up to week number 17 on this spectacular week number 15 rather, on this spectacular NFL season. I didn't get things started on the right foot last night. I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to hold serve at home against Atlanta Falcons, and the Bucs looked like they were going to win this game for about three and a half quarters, but they could not close the door late. And credit to those Atlanta Falcons. Falcons, some might say, didn't have a lot to play for, but the Falcons went out there and played spoiler to their brethren in the NFC South, and things could look very interesting and be a little bit more difficult for the Bucs to once again win the NFC South. But nonetheless, we've got some tremendous games on tap for Sunday, as well as the Monday night affair. This is home stretch time in the NFL regular season. A lot of games in the Northeast, a lot of games in the Midwest that are going to be cold. And guess what? This is football weather. And I know a lot of teams, or more teams rather, around the NFL are migrating to new stadiums with that are indoors. But nonetheless, when you think about December and January, it's all about the elements in the NFL. And I think the elements are going to decide the outcomes on some games this weekend. Now, I want to get things started with the 9-4 Chicago Bears welcoming the 3-10 Cleveland Browns to town. This is one of those cold games that I'm talking about. 10 degrees at a kickoff at Soldier Field in Chicago for this one. Now, if you are the Bears, you're looking to get back on track. You lost a heartbreaker on the road last Sunday to the Green Bay Packers, and in doing so, you dropped from first place in the NFC all the way down to seventh. That just shows you how tight the things are. But I'm looking at the quarterbacks in this one. I'm looking at Caleb Williams, the youngster in his second year for the Bears, and of course, Shador Sanders, the rookie for Cleveland. And of course, these guys have faced each other before. You go back to 2 years ago when both of these teams were still in a Pac-12 conference, and USC and Colorado engaged in a phenomenal game. Nonetheless, I talked about the quarterbacks, but I'm also looking at the defenses right here. You look at Browns defensive end Myles Garrett. He is knocking on the door of becoming the NFL's single season sack holder. He's just 2.5 away from tying both TJ Watt and Lawrence Taylor, 3 from breaking the record. Could this be the game here as the Bears offensive line is going to have their hands full? You look at this Bears defense, they know how to go out there, they know how to make it happen, and they know how to make plays. I'm looking at Shador Sanders. It's been up and down so far since he's become the Browns starting quarterback. Not to any, of his discredit. I think it's been more about the defenses that he has faced. The good defenses he struggled against. The so-so defenses, he's picked them apart. I think he's going to struggle in this game against this Bears defense. Thus, I like Chicago to take care of their business at home, 27-19. Now, in the AFC North, we've got the 6-7 Baltimore Ravens traveling to take on the 4-9 Cincinnati Bengals. And if you're Baltimore, you're looking to return the favor to Cincinnati. We just saw what happened on Thanksgiving night, where fresh off of his long injury stint, Joe Burrow came back at quarterback for the Bengals and torched this Ravens defense. The Ravens defense had their hands full last Sunday at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now they're going to have to deal with the Cincinnati Bengals once again for the second time in the last 3 weeks. No T. Higgins at wide receiver for Cincinnati. That's big. He's out once again with a concussion, but I still like Jamar Chase at wide receiver against this Ravens secondary. And if you look through the brief career of Jamar Chase, he has had some of his biggest games against Baltimore. Now, for the Ravens, they did lose a heartbreaker last Sunday at home to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you're the Ravens, it's gut check time. You've lost your last 2 games at home to division rivals. You're trying to keep that pressure on Pittsburgh. You cannot or you can't like afford to make it another loss within the division and getting swept by the Cincinnati Bengals. 11 degrees at kickoff. Both of these teams are accustomed to those elements, but I like Baltimore in this one, 27-24. So we've got the 9-4 Los Angeles Chargers traveling to take on the 6-7 Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, I said it right. The 6-7 Kansas City Chiefs. And right now, the Chiefs' playoff hopes are hanging on by a string as they basically need to run the table the rest of the way, and they need a lot of help. Of course, the Chargers are banged up right now. You look at the quarterback position, credit to Joe Burrow, pardon me, to Justin Herbert, excuse me, got Joe Burrow on the brain, but nonetheless, Justin Herbert is gutting it out with that left hand injury. We saw it on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. For me with Kansas City, the last couple of weeks, they've gotten punched in the mouth. And with their playoff hopes clinging, I want to see what this team, the 2025 version of the Chiefs, are made of. Are they going to roll over and quit, or are they going to stand up and fight? KC comes into this game favored by 6 points at home, 17 degrees at kickoff. The over-under is 40 and a half. I'm going to take the Chiefs at home in a tight one, 23-20. Now, in a game that could decide the AFC East Championship for this year, you've got the 9-4 Buffalo Bills traveling to take on the 11-2 New England Patriots. And since 2009, these are the only two teams that have won the AFC East. It's either been the Patriots or the Bills. Of course, in New England's case, they are looking to win this division for the first time since 2019, which was also the last time that Tom Brady was their starting quarterback. I think the Patriots did a phenomenal job of serving notice earlier this year on Sunday night when they went on the road to Orchard Park and scored that upset win over Buffalo. New England has won their last two, and they are fresh off of their bye. And Mike Vrabel, in his first year as Patriots head coach, has this team clicking. One thing you know, if you're going to go out there and beat Buffalo, you better pack a lunch defensively to try to slow down Josh Allen, who is once again playing like an MVP candidate. On the flip side, I like Drake Maye against this Buffalo defense. I guarantee you, Gillette Stadium is going to be rocking Sunday afternoon, 31 degrees at kickoff. Buffalo comes into this game favored by 1.5 points, but I like New England to handle their business in this one, 30-23. Now at MetLife Stadium, we've got a battle of two teams that are out of it. You got the 3-10 Washington Commanders traveling to take on the 2-11 New York Football Giants. And of course, if you're the Giants, you come into this game knowing, from a front office perspective, that if the season were to end today, you would be in possession of the first overall pick. I think a lot is going to change between now and the end of the regular season as far as that draft order. But nonetheless, if you're the Giants, you want to try to somewhat salvage this season and finish on a positive note. You just had your bye, and you've got to go out there and take advantage of this Commanders team who is playing without quarterback Jaden Daniels. What are we going to see from Jackson Dart and this offense? And then also, if the Giants can go out there and get a lead, will they be able to finish? The Giants are actually favored in this game by 2.5 points, so that shows you what the Vegas odds makers think of the Commanders without Jaden Daniels at quarterback and Marcus Mariota in that spot. Nonetheless, somebody's got to win this game, and I like the Giants in this one, 23-19. Sticking with another team in the NFC East, we've got the 8-5 Philadelphia Eagles set to host the 2-11 Vegas Raiders. And of course, if there were ever a get-right game for Philadelphia, this is it. The Eagles have lost their last three. They went from contending for the top spot in the NFC to basically just trying to get things right and hold on to the top spot in the NFC East. You look at this game right here, and a whole lot of nothing going on for the Raiders, especially at the quarterback position. No Geno Smith is expected to start. So the Eagles get to see a familiar face in their former backup and Kenny Pickett at quarterback. I look at the Eagles, they've got to go out there and they have to have a no mess around attitude. I think the Eagles have clearly the more talented team than the Raiders in this one. They need to put the Raiders away early and put them out of their misery. 27 degrees at kickoff. That is definitely advantage Eagles. I want to see if Philadelphia can get their ground game going. I also want to see if this Eagles defense can get it going and heat up Kenny Pickett at quarterback in order to force some turnovers. The Eagles come into this contest favored big, 12 and a half points. Typically, when you hear the Eagles favored big, you don't think they'd handle their business, but I think they do in this one. And I like Philadelphia 34-20. Now, another team who's favored big at home, you've got the 9-4 Jacksonville Jaguars, who are leading the AFC South, hosting the 3-10 New York Jets. And of course, so many woes at the quarterback position for the Jets, especially with the injuries. Justin Fields and now Tyrod Taylor. And of course, Jets head coach is going to have to go with the rookie Brady Cook at quarterback. On the flip side for Jacksonville, they can see the finish line, not only getting to the playoffs, but also potentially winning the AFC South. Liam Cohen has definitely brought out the best in this young team. The Jags are favored by 13 and a half. I like them by 17 in this one, 30-13. Myth 4201, what's going on? Happy Friday evening to you. You're saying between the quarterback concern for the Commanders and the offense's inconsistencies for the Giants, it's going to be a difficult one to choose. I'll tell you like this. Somebody's got to win that game. That's the bottom line. I don't like, whenever I do game previews, whether it's college or the NFL, I don't like that, especially with the NFL. With college, it can't happen. But I don't want to go out there and pick ties. I give the benefit of the doubt to the Giants because they're home. Historically, the Giants have not been a good team coming off of their bye. Okay, but at the second time, the Commanders, and we're seeing it this season, how important that Jaden Daniels is to this team, and also how much different that this team looks without him. So I'm going to give the Giants the benefit of the doubt. However, the Commanders got it handed to them last Sunday, courtesy of the Minnesota Vikings. There's a lot of pride on that team, and I want to see how they bounce back from that. But nonetheless, to your point, you make an excellent point right there. Tough to choose this game. We've got the 3-10 Arizona Cardinals traveling to take on the 8-5 Houston Texans. And of course, if you're Houston, you want to try to keep pace with Jacksonville in the AFC South. And there are some who feel that the Texans might have the best defense in the National Football League. It starts with their edge rushers, and I'm talking about Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. They can get after the quarterback. I think I like this Texans defense going up against this Cardinals offense, especially trying to put the pressure on Cards quarterback Jacoby Brissett, who is not that mobile. Houston is favored by 9.5 points at home. I like them by 11, 24-13. You're also saying your fantasy league shows win-loss teams in order, and these teams match up. This matchup is very difficult. I gave the Giants the benefit of the doubt as well. Listen, that's a tough one. I know that the Giants are favored by 2.5. I think it's one of those classic pick'em games, if you just ask me. Okay, but I'm not a Vegas odds maker. You're saying the Texas D has been on fire. Yeah. Credit to DeMeco Ryans. It's one of those where he came from that 49er school, especially under Robert Saleh. They know how to keep opposing offenses up. And that D kept the Texans afloat when they got off to that slow start. And I think the Texans are proof. I think that whole AFC South is proof that it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. And I mean, you think about where the Indianapolis Colts were about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and with all of the injuries at the quarterback position, they might not even make the postseason right now. Okay, and you look at the Texans, a lot of people are writing them off, but credit to DeMeco Ryans for keeping the ship righted. And now you look at them, they're healthy with CJ Stroud at quarterback. Credit to Davis Mills for holding it down while CJ Stroud was out with injury. And again, you cannot say enough about this Texans defense. And I think, just switching gears very quick, That's going to be the theme of this postseason, especially on the AFC side, the teams with the defenses. Now, in a game that has the potential to be a Super Bowl preview, we've got the 9-3-1 Green Bay Packers traveling to Mile High to take on the 11-2 Denver Broncos. And in spite of the fact that Denver's tied for New England with the best record in football, okay, they're undefeated at home. Green Bay is favored by 2.5 points in this game. I like these two defenses because Micah Parsons can heat up an opposing offense. And I say this because Bo Nix can be a little wild at times in that pocket. And if Micah Parsons can just put the heat on him, doesn't have to sack him, it's going to be interesting to see what this Broncos offense looks like. But we talk about defenses, and Denver has their new version of the Orange Crush, if you ask me. And I think Jordan Love and this Packers offense are going to have to deal with that a lot on Sunday afternoon. Like I said, Green Bay is favored by 2.5 points in this one, but I think Denver takes care of their business at home, 24-20. Now, another fun one this Sunday afternoon. We've got the 10-3 Los Angeles Rams hosting the 8-5 Detroit Lions. The Rams come into this game favored by 6 points. This is a very interesting game because you got two quarterbacks that were traded for each other in Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. You also have two teams that have two of the better offenses in the National Football League. You also have a Lions team that has extra rest. They haven't played since last Thursday night. But then also they got to go on the road and try to slow down this Rams attack. And on top of that, this is an important game for both teams. The Lions are currently on the outside looking in of the playoff picture in the NFC, while if you are the Rams, you want to keep pace with Seattle in your division. Like I said, two of the better offenses in the National Football League are going to be on display. Good luck to these defenses trying to slow them down. I give the slight edge defensively to Los Angeles, but I'll tell you like this. The last team that possesses the football is going to win. This is the type of game it's going to come down to. And I'm going to take LA at home 31-27. You've been saying Lions been showing some inconsistencies. I see the Rams winning by at least a field goal. Yeah, that's the thing with the Lions. It's like I think their inconsistencies and I think the riverboat gambler mentality from their head coach and Dan Campbell. We've seen it cost them games in the past, and I think this could be another possibility come Sunday afternoon. Now, we've got an NFC South battle with the 7-6 Carolina Panthers traveling to take on the 3-10 New Orleans Saints. And of course, if you were Carolina, you were just handed a gift last night, courtesy of the Atlanta Falcons, as they knocked off the Bucs. Now, if Carolina wins this game, they are in first place in the NFC South all by their lonesome. And of course, two out of their last three are going to be against the Bucs. Bryce Young, the young quarterback for the Panthers, going up against the Saints defense. It's to me, it's to the point of the year with the Saints. You can't pay attention to their 3-10 record because this defense has played hard all season long. They just had issues at the quarterback position. And nonetheless, this team overall has played hard for first-year head coach Kellen Moore. Carolina comes into this game favored by 2.5 points, but I think Dave Canales has his squad ready, and I like the Panthers to go into the Superdome and win by a touchdown, 27-20. Now, another one of those teams that is favored big this Sunday, we've got the 9-4 San Francisco 49ers, fresh off of their bye, hosting the 2-11 Tennessee Titans. The bye could not have come at a better time for San Francisco as they're looking to get healthy for the stretch run. They still have eyes on possibly winning the NFC West, and of course, they definitely have eyes on getting to the postseason. For the Niners, I think it starts with their defense, and I like this Niners defense going up against this Titans offense with rookie quarterback Cam Ward. Brock Purdy, I think he's been getting a little bit too greedy with the football at times this year. But the bottom line is get the football to Christian McCaffrey, get the football to George Kittle, and get out of their way. I like the Niners in this one big, 31-16. You're asking, have I brought up the Chiefs yet? Have they fallen? Yeah, I did talk about the Chiefs. I like them at home. against the lightning bolts in this one. I think the biggest factor for me, the Chargers played late on Monday night. This is an early game. On top of that, it is cold, and historically, the Chargers have not done well in cold weather. Also, for me, I think the Chiefs win this game, but I still think it's over for them because you look at it, they basically got to run the table. They're not going to win this division, and they're going to need a lot of help to get the wild card. Why? Because all three of the teams that are currently in possession of wild cards in the AFC have defeated them. And then if Houston catches Jacksonville and Jacksonville falls into one of those wild card spots, Jacksonville has beaten Kansas City as well. I've talked about it time and time again throughout this season. The Chiefs specialized in winning those close games last year. That has not been the case this year. I think too much for the last couple of years, and they've been able to get away with it in the past. They rely on the big guys, and I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. But nonetheless, somebody else not named one of those three future Hall of Famers has got to step up for this team. There's going to be some retooling for this Kansas City team. There has to be some retooling for this Kansas City team over the offseason because what they are doing currently, that well has finally run dry, and they have to figure out how they're going to retool around Patrick Mahomes going forward, especially due to the fact that I think this is it for Travis Kelce this season. Yeah, you're saying they lost that spark. Well, they got punched in the mouth in the Super Bowl, courtesy of Philadelphia, and they have not recovered from it, my friend. That's just my thoughts right there. Now, another team that's favored heavily, we've got the 10-3 Seattle Seahawks hosting the 8-5 Indianapolis Colts. Seattle comes into this contest favored by 13.5 points. This could be a homecoming type game for Seattle, and the reason why I say it is this. Again, like I said earlier, things have really unraveled very quickly at the quarterback position for Indianapolis, and it's unfortunate. Daniel Jones was clearly playing the best football of his career, but then the leg injuries, first the fractured fibula, and then, of course, the Achilles injury last Sunday in the loss to Jacksonville. Riley Leonard, the rookie quarterback out of Notre Dame, suffered a knee injury. We know Anthony Richardson is still not ready to go, and what happened? The Colts had to go out there and sign veteran quarterback Phillip Rivers, a guy who I felt like his name was about to be brought up in the Hall of Fame conversation because he hasn't played in the NFL in 5 years. Now, we're talking about a 44-year-old guy trying to be the modern day George Blanda. And I know that people have probably seen Joe Flacco come out of retirement and have some solid games over the last couple of years for multiple teams. But Joe Flacco kind of was still in the mix. Okay, Phillip Rivers hasn't played in 5 years. He's been coaching high school football. And now we're talking about a Phillip Rivers who really wasn't that mobile in his prime, having to go up on the road against this Seattle defense while he's trying to navigate an offense that, and get the timing with guys that he hasn't played with all season long. This is not a training camp situation right here. It's not a scrimmage. This is an actual live NFL game that counts in the win-loss column. I don't like Indianapolis's chances here. I think Seattle puts them out of their misery early and runs away with it 41-10. Yeah, 44 and not the picture of the Yanks. Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better, man. And then we got the Sunday night game, as we've got the 5-8 Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys. And for Dallas, of course, they lost that tough one last Thursday night on the road against Detroit, but they're still in the mix to win the NFC East. Dallas's only chance to get to the postseason, they got to win this division. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But for Dallas, they've got to take care of their business in this one, and I think it starts with their defensive line keeping the pressure on the Vikings' young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. That's going to be big right there. I think this Dallas passing game will continue to click against this Vikings defense, especially if the Vikings can't get home on quarterback Dak Prescott. The Cowboys are favored by 5.5 points in this one. I like them by 8, 24-16. And finally, on Monday night, we've got the 6-7 Miami Dolphins traveling to the Steel City to take on the 7-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. And of course, if you are Pittsburgh, you have all of that momentum that you just received by going on the road last Sunday and knocking off the Baltimore Ravens. Now you've got to try to keep it up because the Ravens are going to try to keep the pressure on you. And you cannot afford to take a step backwards at this point of the season if you are Pittsburgh. Not going to be easy against Miami as the Dolphins quietly have been playing some of their better football over the last couple of weeks. And of course, by now, we know the news surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're not going to see TJ Watt in this game. Anytime you have a procedure for a collapsed lung today, there's no way in the world that he's going to be ready for a game on Monday night. There's no way that anybody should try to clear him for that game for Monday night. But nonetheless, Steeler-like temperatures on Monday night, 22 degrees at kickoff. That definitely does not favor the Miami Dolphins. But on the flip side, Pittsburgh is a scary team. And the reason why I say it is this. Just when you expect the Steelers to turn the corner, just when you expect the Steelers to go out there and take care of their business, they don't. Want to see what Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf can do. We saw them connect on some big plays against the Ravens on Sunday. And the cold weather situation, Pittsburgh's got to get their running game going with Jalen Warren. What's going to happen with Miami's run game? We saw Devin Achane go out of the game last Sunday against the Jets due to injury. What's Mike McDaniel going to cook up in this one against Mike Tomlin? I'm not sure. The last time that the Steelers took the field at home, they were destroyed in the second half, courtesy of the Buffalo Bills. And of course, we heard the Boo Birds rain down in favor, or not in favor, rather, of longtime Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. I think the Steelers are going to be ready for this game. It's not going to be as easy. I think the Dolphins are going to put up the fight. I think Pittsburgh is going to shoot themselves in the foot a couple of times in this game. But when it's all said and done, I still like the Steelers to take care of their business at home, 23-20. So, folks, those are my picks for week number 15 in this NFL season. And as always, I want to take the time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And definitely be sure to check out this podcast Sunday, as I'm going to have some stuff to talk about some of these games that we're going to see this Sunday, especially from that 1 o'clock window. Also, keep an eye out for the shorts. Also, keep an eye out for me in the early stages of next week as well. Also, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you have subscribed to the channel, make sure to tell a friend or two. Myth4201, definitely appreciate you chiming in. Definitely appreciate your commentary. And as always, please do not be a stranger to this channel. For everybody else, if you like what you heard and saw, you know what to do. Like I said, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, and you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.